Hey there, everyone. This is Sharon. And so today, what I want to talk about is breaking generational curses when it comes to health and when it comes to wealth. We're always talking about, generational curses and traumas are going to stop with me. And again, what are we doing to do that when it comes to our health? And I want to focus more on the health aspect of it than anything else. But one thing that I will say, your health has a direct impact, influence on your wealth. And then your wealth, meaning that the money that you make, how you are as a person, and all of those things regarding wealth, let me just say that, has an impact on your health as well. And so, one thing I want to say is that the things that we do today regarding our money, regarding how we take care of ourselves, how you view the world, has a direct impact of your life 3, 5, 10, 20 years down the road. And so let me just kind of share something with you of why I am so passionate, because all of this has to do with self care. Anyone who knows me, who's been following me for a while, know that I'm all about self care. And self care is any practice, ritual, routine that you do, any activity that you do for your highest good, that you do for your full potential mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Because all of those other things can impact you financially. And so, when it comes to our parents, oh man, they worked so hard. Oh, they worked so hard to make sure that a roof was over our head and, shoes was on our feet and we got what we needed. And one thing I can say about my mom is that, she wasn't one of those moms that just going to get you what you want. And she did give us some treats. Don't get me wrong. It's like we wanted a computer back in the day when the computer did exist, on a computer or typewriter or video games. And to be honest, I've always been one to really choose the things that I need because I thought ahead. I can remember when I was younger, and I can't remember. I think it might have been Christmas. It was either Christmas or my birthday. It's like, what do you want? It's like, I want a bedroom set so that when I move, I can have something to take care of me. You know what I mean? But the main thing I want to say regarding our parents is that everyone was were exposed to different things. Some people had knowledge of things, some people didn't. Some people really have been in a survival mode, even just in raising us, just to make sure that we can have, a better life than what they had to have better experiences. But in doing so, in that, it was a lot of wear and tear on their body, especially depends on where they work, how much they work. And when it came to my mom, bless her soul, if anything, she instilled is definitely in being a worker. She was definitely that. She gave her pretty much until she couldn't work no more. And so pretty much she worked until she literally could not work no more, where she worked in a factory, and over time, it's not everyone, but with her, she had problems with her knees and really a hard time in walking, especially being on that concrete floor. And she had to go out on disability. And then when she went out on disability, she was out for a little bit. Then she attempted to go back to work. And I think, it's like the doctor will ask her, oh, do you think you could stand up or sit down for 20 minutes? And, most people would nod their head, yeah, yeah, I can do that. But when she went back to work, just on one day, she couldn't. She couldn't do it. She could not stand for 20 to the third, I'm saying 20 to 30 minutes. She could not stand or sit down for 20 minutes. And you're like, Sharon, what are you saying? From that day forward, she was out on disability. There are some other things that had happened. But my whole point is saying that, what about you? Um, and granted, when that happened, she was married, and so, and initially she didn't qualify for disability. Actually, to be honest, what made her qualify for disability, even though she couldn't stand or sit for 20 minutes, um, in that she ended up having a stroke. And then, there were a lot of other things that happened. But what about you? For you business owners, I mean, even for 9 to 5ers, for business owners and entrepreneurs, if something was to happen to you, whether you're doing this thing, for a year, 5 years, 10 years, what do you have in place? What do you have to fall on if something was to happen? It's not even about, like if you die. Oh yeah, you have life insurance. You may need to look at it to upgrade it, but you definitely have that in place for your family. And if you don't, make sure you contact me. But again, what do you have in place? Because if certain things didn't happen with my mom, I don't think about it that much, but there were times I wonder what would happen, if she wasn't married, but, bless my stepdad. He was a great provider, when it came to her. But then you have some, families who are in a two-parent home or two-couple home. And if one of those, income stop, then that really puts your family at a disadvantage. And so, a part of self care is taking care of yourself, making sure you have things in place, making sure you're doing everything that you can to be as healthy as you can. Because also, by having a healthy lifestyle, even when some things happen, I have to say some, it can help with the recovery of that. The other thing is that when you have something in place, it helps so much with the family. Because one thing I can say is that, I would say through the journey of that, even though my parents were financially comfortable, but what I had come to realize, just because you're financially comfortable, it doesn't set you up for the things that you may need along the way. And, we're not like saving for a rainy day or putting things in place for a rainy day. We're putting things in place for however we want to use it. And so, in saying that, there are some things, like when it comes to insurance, that's called like living benefits. If someone has a chronic illness, or disability, and I have to say qualified disability, and what they can lean on. As you being an entrepreneur, and especially if you're the sole income provider or your income is dependent on, and something was to happen and getting in an accident, having a heart attack or stroke or cancer or becoming disabled, how will your family survive? What options do you have, in place? And these are conversations we really need to have. No one wants to talk about it. And one thing that I definitely believe in, and it takes, even me to be able to practice in my own personal life, it's like no matter what, we need to have these conversations, because going back to these generational curses, meaning that it's not just because, oh, I'm going out there and I'm working and I'm going to be six and seven figure and a millionaire. It's not even about that. It's also about taking care of business, of putting things in place for your legacy, because you will not have a legacy if something was to happen to you and nothing is in place, meaning that everything falls apart. And so this is what self-care is. This is what um, breaking the generational curses is all about, and they go hand in hand. Your health and your wealth go hand in hand, because for anyone, who may have to go out on disability, sometimes it can take months to be able to be approved. And then with the money that you get, it's not the amount of money that you have been earning. And so there's still a cut, in that. And so that's going to impact the money that you have, to pay rent or mortgage, to have food on your table, to be able to, for those of you who have medications, and then for those of you who have family, who have children, for your children to still to be able to have somewhat of a, of course, there will never be normal per se, but as much as normal as possible, I'd say with less disruption. And so self-care is you, again, having the courage, is having a conversation. I call them reality conversations now, because they're just conversations that we need to have. There's no hoopla or anything like that. And so, again, what are those things that you need to do to make sure that you're protected, that you have things in place? Because you can't be, going towards having six figures or $1 million or breaking all these curses, but still at the end of the day, you don't have anything in place. I mean, just think about it. When it comes to these entertainers, that has happened to them. I believe they say with Prince, with Aretha Franklin. There's a couple other people, as well. It's like all of that money, and not having something in place, like a will, and that kind of money, you need a trust. You have a house and a business, you definitely need a trust. So definitely talk to me about that too. So in the comments, if you want to learn more about how you can make sure things are in place, write in freedom, type freedom. And if you want to know pretty much how to protect your money and making sure things are in order, type in trust. And so freedom or trust, or you may need to take a look at them both, because having conversations and learning about, how your money work, learning about what you need to do. And let me say this. Tomorrow is not promised. We always want to say, like when someone passes, we always want to say, "Oh, tomorrow is not promised. Tell your loved ones and how much you love them." And I would take that even further in, tomorrow is not promised. Tell people that you love them and put things in place, have things in place, take care of business. That's a part of being human. That's a part of being an adult. Um, I don't know where all this anxiety and all this stuff come from. Have I always discussed it? No, because, I didn't want nobody else to feel uncomfortable, even though I know it was important. And one thing I can say is that there was one conversation that even though I did attempt the conversation, and I'll leave that for another live, but just saying, let's not have any regrets, because that's another, I guess you say, generational curse that we're going to banish, of, any not having any regrets, of being able to really, really, really be true to ourselves, to be authentic. And in order to be all of those things, is for you to set yourself free by making sure you're taking care of the business of you, your personal self, as a person, as a human, as an adult, and then also making sure that your business is taken care of as well. So take care of business, and remember, if you need to learn more of how you can protect your money, type in freedom. If you want to protect your property and your money in another way, type in trust.